When I came to the church, I came here with 3 problems. And the main one was the immigration problem that I was going through, which I was fighting for to get my indefinite stay in the country. But at the same time, I had to send for my daughter Sandy because she was living with my mom, and my mom was getting old, can't look after her anymore.
I used to sit down, I used to watch things that I wasn't meant to watch my age. I used to hear a lot of negativity from my dad, saying that I wasn't his child, saying that I was ugly. So growing up hearing these things, I started building up like a hatred against men. It's not because a lot of men hurt me, but because of the things that my dad used to do. I used to see him being at my brother. I used to hear how much he used to be at my mom. So I thought, why should I respect men? It's the only man in my life doesn't deserve my respect, so why should I go on respecting men? And on the other side, I also had a split personality. So I used to lie about where I live. I used to say I live in a certain place. It got to the point that I would take a bus to that place and then take a bus back to where I used to live just for my friends to think that I live in that certain place. So my life was a lie because I didn't have a perfect life. I didn't have a life that was good. So I thought, okay, let me just lie about the life that I want. And this was carrying on for a very, very, very long time. And to the point that I got involved with another guy. And I didn't really like him. But as you know, I got involved with him because I wanted the attention and because I just wanted to just use him and just forget about him. He didn't take it nicely. He started to watch where I was going. He started to watch my movements and everything like that. But when I actually found out that he had his friends coming to the place I was going just to watch me, just to plan that he's gonna kill me, say he's gonna stab me, he told me everything he was gonna do to me, I was literally scared. I was shaking. At that same time, I was coming to the church that my mom invited me to, but I wasn't taking it seriously. I was in and out, because I thought, I'm too young to take God seriously. I want to have fun, I want to enjoy my life.
But while she was here, I noticed that Sandy wasn't taking it serious. She didn't like the church. Although I didn't know the problem that Sandy was going through, I could tell her something wasn't right.
So when the guy told me that he was going to kill me, it was like, God was the first person I thought about. He was the first person that came to my mind. I got on my knees and I started praying. I was like, God, if you allow me to overcome this situation right now, I will give my life to you. And that was my prayer on that day. And then from that day, I started coming to the services regularly.
Since she's been attending the youth group, I realized that she's taking it more seriously. And she's been, doing things in the youth group, helping the youth group, evangelizing, doing things. She's more happy. And I found that I didn't have to be forcing Sandy to come to church anymore.
Eventually, problems started solving. My immigration problem was solved. I didn't have suicidal thoughts anymore. I didn't cry myself to sleep anymore. I started showing to God that, God, you know what? I know what you've done in my life. I see the changes that you've done through me. So now it's for me to live my life for you.
One day she said to me, Mom, I've been called to raise an assistant. And she's been here since doing God's work, and both of us together in the church, and we are going all the way to the end.
So I gave my life to God. I live my life every day for God, and now everything has completely changed. I work in a nursery, doing what I love doing, teaching kids. Me and my mom, we don't argue, we don't complain. Me and my dad, we get on all the time. I don't need boys to make me happy. My life is completely transformed because one day I took that decision that I needed God, and God fulfilled everything else in my life. So that's how my life changed, and I'm very grateful.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's Finding Answer. And tonight I would like to speak to you, specifically to you who is always starting something, but for some reason you're never able to finish. Maybe this simple sentence categorizes who you are. You are a starter, but not a finisher. You start something very excited, very energetic. You tell everyone about what you're doing, that it's working for you. Halfway through the process, you are not that excited. You're kind of half of the strength. By the end, you're not even there. You're a no-show. You're nowhere to find. So if this is happening to you, then why? Actually, tonight's topic is complete what you start. Seems to be a very simple subject, but one of the hardest things for people to do. It's very easy to find people who are starting something and not able to finish. Starting one project, then taking another, and another. Maybe this is the reason why you can't really finish, because you are seeing yourself at this point where you have taken so many projects, so many things that you're trying to do at the same time that you got lost. And now you don't have the strength to finish any of these. So if this is happening to you, what you're going to see tonight is going to help you, because we have a live guest here who's going to talk about her experience, who used to be like this, who used to have an issue with this, but it's no longer an issue to her. You're going to see how she overcame. We have also a prayer that we're going to do at the end to strengthen you, to inspire you. So we're going to have a discussion over these subjects. Stay with us, because if this is a problem to you, and you hate being like this, but you don't know how to change, you would love to see what you start finished. You have the vision there, but somehow you feel blocked or weak along the way, or you get sidetracked and you can't get to the end, to the finish line. So stay with us, because this program will help you. We're going to show you some tips here that will definitely help you. Practical tips that will help you get there to the point where you want to be. After this video that talks more about this topic, tonight's topic, Complete What You Start, we're going to continue talking about this.
Are you the kind of person who knows what you ought to do, but you are not able to bring yourself to do it? Is there a gap between intention and action? People have always struggled with habitual hesitation. Such procrastination has actually been found to be harmful. Research has found that people who procrastinate have higher levels of stress and lower well-being. Not completing tasks is also associated with things like inadequate retirement savings and missed medical visits. People who often fail to complete what they start have a failure of self-regulation. Its definition is a voluntary delay of an important task that we intend to do, despite knowing that we'll suffer as a result. A poor concept of time is thought to be an aspect that can exacerbate the problem, but also an inability to manage emotions seems to be at the core. Not completing what you start also brings with it feelings of guilt, shame and anxiety about deciding to delay or quit something. So, if this is you, then maybe it's time to bridge the gap between intention and action, because actually completing the tasks that you start will bring with it a new experience of self-esteem, feelings of accomplishment and self-reliance.
I see there's too many people that I've met that actually gave up on something. They didn't finish when the goal wasn't accomplished in the amount of time they wanted or they expected that they would have done it. And once it didn't happen in the expected time, it's like they just threw their hands up in the air and said, well, at least I tried. And they ended up not finishing it. But what if you just stuck to it? If you fought. Sometimes when things don't happen in the time that you expect, that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen or that it's not possible for you to achieve it. It might be a sign that the fight is only tougher than you expected at first. But keep on fighting. Because imagine if you had a valuable recipe that no one else in the world has. And you could make a lot of money with this recipe. You have, the ingredients are there, the way to do it, and then you get all the ingredients and you follow everything, to a T, or you follow all those instructions. Then you have to bake it. You have to put it in the oven. And you have to leave it there for whatever amount of time, 45 minutes, 50 minutes. But you just say, no, I just feel like I can have it now. And after 3 minutes, it's in the oven. Then you take it out and you taste it. How is it going to taste? It's going to be inedible. So what are you going to say? That the recipe is not good, that it's not, that it doesn't work? No, the recipe is good, but you were supposed to wait a little bit longer. Just hang in there. Don't be so anxious. So this can be an issue why you're not finishing what you start, because you don't go all the way. You go some part of it, but at some point, if it doesn't happen, you really get discouraged. You don't have to do this. If this is an issue to you, this is one thing that you have to change. And still talking about this issue, we have here Victoria. Good evening.
Good evening.
So Victoria, we're talking about complete what you start, right? There's so many things we can talk about it. But from your perspective, what could you say about this? Why is it that people, they start something, but they don't finish it?
Well, I suppose it could be some very superficial things like a poor time management or being a very impatient person. Those things will inevitably lead you to, if you don't complete the task in the time that you set yourself, then you're just going to forget all about it. But it could also be something a little bit more deep-seated. So in psychology, I suppose you would say that if you are avoiding a task and you don't really follow it through, it could be that actually you have a fear, an inner fear that either you won't complete it properly, or if you do, it won't actually be as good as you're expecting it to. Mm-hmm. So you could sort of be in denial or just be not actually aware, actually. Something in your subconscious is telling you not to complete that task.
So how could someone that is struggling with this type of fear overcome? What are some practical things that they could do to overcome this hurdle?
Well, I suppose the first thing to do would be a very practical thing and cut down your big job that you have to do into very small steps. Because not only does that help you see where you need to get to, you're experiencing positive effects every time you reach each of those small steps. What does often help is if you say out loud what you want to achieve, because then you are linked then to completing that task, or even just talking to somebody who has already completed a similar task and asking them even just for advice.
Yeah, so it could be like a focus issue, because if you're just looking at how many steps you have to take to accomplish your task or how many things you have to do, that means you're not focused. If you can limit your focus to one thing at a time, it will be easier, right? Is basically?
Yeah, and that's actually very similar to what we call anxiety disorder in psychology. Now, somebody with anxiety disorder will actually sit down for hours on end and not be able to do anything, and it's often misdiagnosed as depression. But actually what's happening is that they think they've got so much to do and they don't know how to approach it, that they can't actually do anything in the beginning. So maybe something like procrastination and not finishing a task could be a very small aspect of something like anxiety.
Overthinking, right? Overthinking things. Listen, we do not live in a perfect world. The world isn't perfect. You don't have to make perfect decisions all the time. Sometimes if you can get one perfect decision, wow, congratulations. But if you don't get something right, if along the way, if you can't figure out all the steps, at least think of one or two or maximum three and work on these three and see as it goes, For instance, we are here live right now. We don't have a script here over everything we're going to say and everything we're going to do. But I believe that, by sharing experiences with you, by saying things that we have seen that they worked for other people, they're going to work for you too. And I believe even that God is here with us, speaking to you through us here to guide you, to give you some steps, some help to take you out of this. The most important thing is that if you feel like this, you're there, as we're talking about here, you're in this inertia. You don't move. You don't go back, you don't go forward, you're just stuck in a rut and you don't know what to do. You are scared and you're afraid to move forward. How do you overcome this? You can get help. Right now, our phone lines are open. You can call someone, you can speak to an advisor, or you can send us an email. Victoria, please, could you give to us again, to those who are watching, the contact details, please?
Absolutely. So anytime during the show, you can give us a call. Our number is 020 7686 6300, or feel free to send us an email. Our email address is help@findinganswers.tv, or you can talk to us on social media. Send us a tweet. Just start your tweet with @FindAnswersTV, or follow us on Facebook. Just search for Finding Answers.
Very good. So are you overthinking things all the time? Distractions get you sidetracked and you can't finish what you started. You don't know just what to do next. feel lost right now, it will be a pleasure speaking to you. You can talk to us here on the show. If you want to share your experience, call us. We can speak live, or you can speak privately and anonymously to one of our advisors. But stay with us, because very soon we're going to introduce to you a live guest. She's here in the studio with us, and she had issues with this. She was never able to really complete her tasks in her career. Her professional life was very limited because of that. But with the right help and guidance, she was able to put this issue behind her. And if you want to find out how, then just stay with us. Back after this.
All systems are go. We're about to
Hi, the Chrissy B Show airs live on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, coming to your homes with entertainment, life issues as well as hard-hitting topics, coupled with friendly and practical advice. I love to look at the happier side of life and believe a person can achieve amazing things when they put their mind to it. The Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life.
Are you a duck? What can it do? It swims. It walks. It flies. But does it do them all well? Yes, a duck can do all of the above, but it's not known for being great at any. So, are you a duck? Rather than attempting to do all things, why not be the best at one thing at a time? You will find you'll actually learn to be great at more things.
Follow My Channel's updates on Facebook. Like your favourite videos and see pictures of your favourite artists. Access our Twitter at My Channel UK and get to know what's on with My Channel. Visit tvmychannel.com and be connected to our world. My Channel, a whole new world of entertainment.
All systems are go. We're about to
Welcome back to Finding Answers, and tonight we're speaking about finish what you start, complete what you start, which seems to be something easy, when we say it, but most people really have a hard time. They start school and don't finish, start a job and not able to finish, start working out, give up halfway. So many people have issues with this. We're going to speak to someone right now who had an issue with that. Manyatsi is here with us, but she doesn't have an issue with that anymore. So we are going to learn from her story of success. How was she able to overcome this and complete what she started?
It's pushing me for the rest of the week, so it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
So good evening, Bonnie. Welcome.
Hello,
okay,
Pastor.
Thanks for coming. Tell us, what was the problem? Where does a story begin? What was the issue with that before?
Pastor, before I came to the church, my life was totally destroyed because I couldn't hold down a job. I would get a job and I would work there for some time and I would stop working there and then look for another job because I would feel I'm not satisfied or I'm not recognized in that job. So I worked for this company and I worked there for 2 years. But in that 2 years, I always worked there temporarily. They wouldn't employ me permanently. And because of that, I would think to myself, no, because they're not recognizing me. Then I skipped, I went to look for another job. Then I worked there for 3 years in this other job. There again, they didn't employ me permanently. I was still temporary there for 3 years. And then I would decide
3 years
to...
temporarily.
Yes.
Any other job? 2 years temporarily.
Yes.
So you're going from temp to temp. You had qualifications to work in that field,
yes,
right?
Yes,
in the
Pastor.
field that you work. But
yes.
What was the explanation? Why is it that they, because if you're talking about months, I would understand, but years?
Pastor, I don't know, because at first they would tell me there's no vacancy to make me permanent. But then when I left this job for 2 years, I went to look for another one, and there I worked for 6 years. Pastor, I was temporary there again. And I worked there, and they would employ people after me, and they would let me train those people to do the job. And they would employ those people permanently, and I would still remain temporary.
Wow.
And it was so frustrating, Pastor, and I didn't know a way out. How, because I have moved from job to job, and it was still the same story. Until I found the church.
So I can imagine, for instance, how would you feel, and people right now that are in the same situation, because it's more often than most people think that we find people, because our job is to help people, right?
Yes.
We do it every day, and we talk to so many different people from different parts of the world, and that's what happens many times. People who can't hold a stable job, who are always being fired without explanation, right? People with good qualification, hard-working people. It's not that they lax at work or anything like this. How would you used to feel? How did it affect you spiritually, emotionally, seeing that you would train people that would then be hired permanently, and you, the trainer, would be fired and after your trial period was over?
Yes. Pastor, it was so frustrating because remember, if you are temporary, you earn less than the one who's employed permanently. And I would be training these people to do the job, and then they would be employed permanently, and definitely they'll get a higher salary than me. It was so frustrating. I wasn't very happy, Pastor, because I didn't know what is it that they see in me not suitable to be employed permanently, and yet they liked me so much that they said I was doing a good job, but not to be employed permanently. It was so frustrating, Pastor.
And it didn't happen only once or twice, several times?
It happened several times, yes.
Do you struggle with depression, frustration? What were the issues?
Pastor, I wouldn't say I struggled with depression, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy because I couldn't do everything that I wanted to do because I was earning not that much. And considering that I know that those people that have helped train do the job, they are now employed permanently and they're earning more than me. It was really frustrating, Pastor.
Yeah, frustration, I believe, was the word,
Yes.
right? And it's impossible not to speak about, from a spiritual point of view concerning her situation, that there's negative forces involved. If you believe in God, if you believe the Bible speaks about the existence of negative forces. Call it evil spirits, bad karma, whatever you want to call it. The name doesn't matter, but the truth is that when there's a situation like this, that it doesn't happen once or twice, but you see yourself, as a repeat of failure after failure, and you don't have an explanation. So you have to get help. If this is your case, if you feel there's like something blocking you, get help, give us a call, speak to someone. If you say, Pastor, I'm watching what's happening to this lady, it's like a rerun of my story. I identify myself with what she's going through because it's the same thing with me. I can't get established anywhere. I'm hopping from job to job, position to position. Other people that start after me, they get ahead of me, and I don't find an explanation to that. So you need help. It's understandable that sometimes things will go wrong, but it's not normal that things always go wrong, all the time. And if this is your case, before it gets worse, get help. Do something. Call us right now. Say, listen, what do I need to do? Speak to a counselor because we are here to help. So You said it happened like 3 times?
Yes, Pastor, it happened like 3 times.
And what was your perspective? Did you think that it was always going to be like this, that it would never change, or?
Pastor, I thought it was always going to be like this. And to be real, on this last job, I had told myself I can't move anywhere else because wherever I go, it seems like I'm never employed permanently. So I had told myself I'll stay there for until I don't know when. Mm-hmm. And until one Monday morning when I came...
So you decided, it's like you decided to settle for less?
I just settled there, Pastor. I just said, because I had moved 3 times. That was the 3rd time I had been moving.
But you see, speaking about your situation now this is no longer happening.
No, it's no longer happening.
Right? You are able now today to finish
yes,
what you started. You are established now.
Yes. Pastor.
Right?
Yes.
After this break, she's going to tell us how she was able to make this transition. We're going to go to a break now and then watch a commercial now, but stay with us because after this break, Bonnie is going to share with us what were the steps that led her to be finally able to change the situation. Stay with us.
All systems are go. We're about to
When we want to reach our goals, we research, act, and make sure we know everything there is to know about that topic. We study hard because that is the intelligent thing to do. This is the same for our development as a Christian. The Faith School is designed for those who want a degree in spiritual growth, those who want to separate time to study the Holy Bible and follow God's path for their life. There is no admissions fee and it's suitable for every level of learner. You will learn how to interpret the Word of God for your daily life and become stronger internally. Do you want to find inner peace and spiritual strength? Then this course is for you. The Faith School, every Wednesday at your local UCKG Help Centre. For more information, call 020 7686 6000 or visit our website uckg.org.
Uplifting.
Diverse. Vibrant. Dynamic.
Powerful. Youthful. Informative.
Energizing. Passionate.
Motivational. Freedom. Lively.
Excitement.
All systems are go. We're about to
Welcome back to Finding Answers. Tonight our topic is complete what you start. So why exactly do people fail to complete what they start? It could be that they haven't got particularly good time management skills and may overestimate how much time they have to complete projects. They may also overestimate how long certain activities will take to complete. They could also mistakenly assume that they need to be in the right frame of mind to work on a project. Or maybe they get bored quickly on tasks and they don't find particularly motivating. The negative effects of not completing what you start could include putting pressure on the people around you. If you habitually put things off, you place a burden on those people who depend on you, such as your friends, family or co-workers. But also people who fail to complete what they start often don't just do this occasionally. They may pay their bills late and don't start work on big projects until the last minute. And finally, putting off tasks until the last minute can have a negative impact on your health. They may experience more last-minute stress, they may have a poorer diet, and even leave any health concerns until the last minute. So let's go to the streets of London and see what the general public have to say on this topic.
Definitely depression is probably number one.
They're arguing and they're talking negatively about each other.
What is more valuable than another? And so
you can have as many friends and families as you want. It just depends.
Is a common regret, like, oh, like I should have like asked that person out, or like.
Hi, I'm Chika here on the streets of London for Finding Answers. Tonight's topic is complete what you start. We all have things that we haven't finished and we regret. So that's just what I'm going to be asking the general public. I'm going to find out what they started but never managed to complete. Let's see what they say. Is there anything that you wish that you'd seen through to the end?
I can't think of anything. I think I'm the sort of person, this is going to sound really arrogant, but I think I'm the sort of person who always follows stuff through to the end. You know, I think you should do that. People should always, stop looking for excuses.
Well, I think with hobbies, that's always quite an interesting debate, because I took up knitting over the winter and decided that I was going to knit a jumper, and didn't really make it past getting the wool and getting the knitting needles, because it all started to get a little bit complicated, and then there was something more interesting on TV, and that was the end of my knitting career.
Distractions are a big thing.
Distractions are a big thing. Things get a little bit tough. You think, do I really want to be bothered now? And then you stop doing it, and then you never pick it up again.
Learning a language. So I started doing Italian but never completed it. And whenever somebody comes to talk to me, I'm always, only a few words I can say and that's it. So I wish I'd continued with my Italian.
Yeah, I trained as a pilot from about 16 and went through with it for about 60 hours to about 100 hours and never did the test, never passed it. So just gave up on it, and that was a good 10 years ago. Yeah, so it's something that I'll go back to maybe when I'm a bit older, but yeah, something that I hold as a big regret.
So you found there are different opinions from the general public in the streets of London, and whatever reason is not allowing you to finish what you start, it's always something that you need to get help. You look for help. Not all the problems you are able to overcome on your own. You don't have all the answers. You don't know what to do. Our advice to you is do get help. We're not so strong that we can live independent of everything and everybody. So there's no shame in admitting that, in this area here, in that particular aspect, I'm not strong enough to do this all on my own. You can start this help right now by calling us 0207 686 6300, because you see that sometimes the price you pay for giving up on something, going all the way back to the beginning, the effort, the time it takes is much more than if you just continue, if you just went forward. So think about that. And we continue here with Bonnie. So you were telling us, couldn't hold a job, couldn't get established, were training people who would be permanently hired, and you would be fired, you would be sacked.
Yes.
How was it? What did you do, Bonnie? That's what we want to know. That changed your life.
Pastor, I found out about the church. I was watching TV and I saw the program. And then I decided to come. And like I said, didn't understand what was going on with me. So I came to the church and I got advices, Pastor. I got prayers. And I was taught how to pray. And I started praying. I did challenges with God. And Pastor, my life changed.
Yes.
God.
So it started by you deciding to go to a church, to get help.
Yes.
How did the church help you?
The church taught me, Pastor, that I have to make a vow with God. I have to have a communion with God and speak to God about what I want to happen, how I want my life to be. Because if God is my creator, He can change the situation of my life.
Did you learn religion?
No, I didn't learn religion, Pastor.
So it was not religion?
It was not religion.
It was not just a bunch of rituals or recited words and prayers, nothing to do with that.
Pastor,
you're talking about vows with God.
Vows with God.
You're talking about commitment.
Commitment with God, Pastor.
Practicing His word.
Yes, Pastor.
This is what works. You see, faith is only as good as you practice. You may have all the knowledge, all the information about the Bible or about your area of expertise. If you don't practice it, it has no value. So this is what matters to God. You know, getting closer to God is not only about going to a church, having a religion. Whether you have one or you don't, that's not really, you know, what I want to discuss. What I'm saying here is that what connects a person to God is faith, and faith demands action. So when you came, you learn steps, practical steps, right, Pastor. To take action, to get more involved with God, right, with the things of His words. As you started doing it, what were the practical results?
Pastor, it was amazing because it didn't even take that long. Because, Pastor, how I then understood when I came to the church, because how I came to the church, I was then fired from this job which I had decided to stay there since I wasn't getting permanently employed anywhere else.
So it happened again. One more time, I mean, right? Being
with
fired
this
again.
one, then, Pastor, they fired me. I came on a Monday morning, and that Monday morning they told us the job is finished. So I had to go back home. And that's when I started attending the church. Pastor, I made a commitment with God, and I made vows with God. Pastor, in 6 months, God blessed me. God honored me with a job that I had never got training for, that I can say I didn't know about it. And they employed me. They employed me there, Pastor. When they employed me, the boss told me that it will be temporal for 3 months. And Pastor, because I was in the church now, I had learned how to talk to God, how to ask things from God, and God will answer you. Pastor, I went back to God, I prayed, and I told God that, my God, I said, I don't want to be temporal anymore. Now that I'm in your presence, I cannot be temporal. Pastor, when that 3 months elapsed, they employed me permanently. And that's how God showed me that He is a real God. When you make a vow with Him and you obey what He tells you to do, He honors your faith.
So you see a difference in the way you prayed.
Yes.
You didn't say, oh God, please, this time, let it be different. You said, God, now that I'm in your presence, I do not accept to be a temporary worker anymore. You have to bless me.
Yes, Pastor.
Wow. You're listening here and you say, wow, wait, I can't talk to God like that. Maybe you can't because you're not this close to Him. Because when you're close to God, you know, how do we get close to God? By using intelligence, using our mind, right? You thought, wait a minute, if He cares about me, so he can't, just abandon me in this situation.
No, Pastor.
Right? I can't be alone here, frustrated, upset, being fired time after time, always stamping. So you said, no, if you really exist, there has to be a solution. And there was one. 6 months.
6 months, Pastor.
In 6 months, you were able to overcome.
Yes, Pastor.
And get this job, which is better than the previous ones, right?
Oh, Pastor, better than the previous one. Employed permanently. Pastor was bought a beautiful uniform to wear there to work. Pastor, there was a transport for work which will take us from a certain place in town to work and back again, which we didn't have to use public transport. Pastor, it was amazing. I was surprised myself. I said, my God, all this.
Tell us, what do you do?
Pastor, now I'm working in a private care company.
Private care company,
yes.
right?
Yes.
You feel happy there?
Pastor, I'm blessed.
All
I'm blessed. I'm very happy.
Very good.
Yes,
very
Pastor.
good. You feel comfortable there,
yes, Pastor.
right? You are now established.
Established,
right?
Pastor.
You were able to break this wall.
Yes, Pastor.
And the same way that she did, so can you. I'm talking to you now that you are tired of being in this situation. You are tired of living this limited life where you know your qualifications, are enough to put you in a much better spot than the one that you are. But it's like no matter what you do, you always hit this. There's like you go only so much and here you get stuck. So you change places, you change jobs, you change companies, and you go and you hit that limit. When you make that amount of money or you hit that title, that position, that job title, that's it. So how to break free from this? You need to get closer to God. Once again, she did it with the help of God. She learned how to use the power of faith. And it worked for her. It's going to work for you. But she took the decision. She watched that TV program that inspired her, and then she came. And you are watching us now. Do you want change? Let us help you. We believe. No matter what your situation is, I guarantee you, if you call us and you say, listen, I'm going through this and that, no one here is going to take it lightly. We're going to listen to you, talk to you, advise you, pray for you, and help you. By the way, speaking about prayer, prepare a glass with water. I have mine here because in a few minutes we are going to be praying on your behalf. Okay, I want to thank Bonnie for coming tonight, right?
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing how your life changed, right? You now finish what you start,
yes,
right? And
yes.
I hope and believe that you are going to come back with more stories,
Amen.
Okay?
Yes, Pastor.
So you who are watching us, stay tuned. We're going to go to a break and come back with a prayer and a final advice to you.
All systems are go. We're about to
In life, there are problems that just hit you with a blow. Everything crumbles away and the heartache never seems to disappear. Everything keeps going wrong. You are in despair. What do you do when your hope isn't enough? When your single prayer seems to return unanswered and the persistent problem is still there? Partner with God and make a chain of prayer. The Chain of Prayer is a weekly series of uninterrupted prayer and action to tackle the most stubborn of problems. Make the chain of prayer and turn things around once and for all. Don't give up. Make a chain of prayer. It works.
In
All systems are go. We're about to
When I was a little girl, I always wanted to do something very creative with the hair. It was my dream of my life to design special occasion hairstyle, do some makeup, something very creative. So a few years ago, I went to college to study hairdressing and makeup artistry. And by the end of my third year of studying, I started having really strong pains of my hands. Normally, it would come in the middle of the night, and the pain would be so strong that I wouldn't be able to do absolutely anything. So I started seeking advice. I went to different countries. I've done lots of checks, tests, but nobody actually could find out what was wrong with me. The doctors would tell me, you just have to give up what you're doing. For that point, I started getting really depressed. So one day, one of my friends, who I haven't seen for 6 years, called me just to ask how are you and invite me to come to the church with them. But at that point, I don't know why, I just ignored, I didn't think anything about the church. So a few months later, they called me again and asked me how are you feeling. So I told them my pain is still continuing, I'm still not feeling great, and I decided to go and see this church. That day I received a prayer, and from that moment, all the pain, absolutely everything just went straight away after the prayer. So that day I will never forget in my life. And now I'm working in my dream career. I'm very happy in my job. I'm pursuing my dream. I'm a very happy person.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. We're coming towards the end of tonight's program, but I would like to remind you tomorrow there's going to be a special edition of this program. You do not want to miss out. So, whatever the reason may be why you are never able to finish what you start, you give up along the way, whether by fear or because of distractions, or you lack the strength to go on, you need strength to persevere, whatever the reason may be, I guarantee you that God has His hands stretched out towards you now to save you, to help you with this. All you need to do is to take His hand. He's offering you His hand, even through this TV program. The only thing you need to do is to accept this help. So I have here my glass of water. If you already also have yours, let's unite the faith right now. It's the moment of prayer.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer concerning your financial life, send your name and a prayer request to help@findinganswers.tv.
God, right now, I join my faith with the faith of this person who is praying with us in desperate need of help, no matter what the situation may be. Maybe crying right now, unable to break free from this addiction. Who knows, my Lord, maybe even with the cigarette or the drugs or the alcohol in their hands, and hating to do this, but unable to break free, not knowing what else to do. This person who has been to rehabs, to doctors, to specialists, to counselors, to all kinds of help he or she could think of. Spent a lot of money on these things, trying to find a solution, trying to find answers, but couldn't. Failed at every attempt. This person who is now going through a financial challenge, things being tight, unable to make ends meet, unemployed. God, I don't know what is the situation that is making this person so desperate. But I know that when we are desperate and we turn to you, because you are a Father, you stretch out your strong arms to save. So I ask you to save this person that is praying, maybe even with tears rolling down their face, my God, for this sense of helplessness and hopelessness, to feeling weak before the challenges that is ahead of them. Maybe not even in a position where they can choose. It's to do it or to do it, because they just have to confront their lie. And maybe even today, as the new day, as Wednesday is already about to start. Oh my God, give this person the strength. I ask you, in the name of the Lord Jesus, please, through this glass of water, make a difference. Use this water as an extension of your power, because it's an element that you create. And I believe that when they drink, they're going to perceive a difference in Jesus' name. When you drink, my friend, you will receive strength. You will be inspired, energized to decide to get help today. This is what we determine. And we thank you, God, for answering this prayer. And if you believe and you agree, you can say amen and drink the water now. Be blessed. Very good. Just believe. Now believe, now that you drank the water, now that you prayed with us, that one day you will also be with us here, sharing with everyone your story of success, okay? This is what I believe too. If you believe, I believe together with you. This is it from us tonight, and tomorrow we'll be here again at the same time. Good night, everyone. God bless.